Ever since I was a little girl, my parents would take me to distant places around the world. We would go to places, names I can't even pronounce, places I didn't even know existed. I loved our adventures. I saw myself as a world citizen. Whenever we go anywhere, I would insist we saw all the tourist attractions. I dragged my parents from theme park to museum, museum to gallery. Me being slightly pedantic about the way I manage my time, I'd set a set itinerary before every trip and make sure that by the time we have left, I had ticked everything off my list. I wanted to get the full experience, gain as much as I could. I treated traveling as most people do. I saw the world as though I was reading a guidebook. Whenever we would go on any trip, I didn't want to miss out on anything after traveling such a long way. So we saw all the tourist attractions you can imagine. But then we would move on with very little reflection. I thought that was the only way to travel. Well, no doubt this kind of traveling isn't bad. It's actually really important because it taught me to truly perceive and respect the surrounding beauty and diversity, the impressive harmony of Taj Mahal, the unique taste of soup on the sidewalk of Hanoi, or the unimaginable starry sky and the pinky red Milky Way over the Australian desert. So I continued this type of traveling till a couple of years ago, when I finally asked myself, maybe there's another way. Maybe it's time for a change. But what triggered these thoughts? Well, it all changed when one day I came back from school and my parents, completely out of the blue, announced to me that we were going to Japan. I went into a brief panic. What will we do there? I'm not prepared. What should I pack? Obviously, I didn't have enough time to prepare my extensive research on all the tourist attractions in Japan. This trip will be a disaster, I thought to myself. But to my great surprise, it wasn't. It turned out to be one of the greatest trips of my life. And I'm sure you're in shock. How is this possible? Well, let me explain. We arrived to Japan with nothing planned, no list prepared. And so we just went out on the street and let life take us. And believe it or not, it turned out to be an amazing day. But it wasn't because of the places we saw, but the people we met. Some tourists brought us to this amazing restaurant, one you would never find in a guidebook. I was learning so much about the culture of Japan. It opened my eyes to all the different ways that people live their lives. I realized that you can't learn these things from a book, because sure, you can learn the facts, but books don't have emotions, and you can only truly understand another person through emotion. I understood that traveling was a little more than just ticking off tourist attractions off a list. From that moment on, my view on traveling really changed. I realized that I wasn't that much of a world citizen after all, because I thought that going to the oldest temple in Kyoto made me understand the culture, but it didn't, because the culture are the people, and I didn't understand or know anything about the people. So now, I don't make any more crazy lists with impossibly many attractions, and I try to plan time to simply enjoy myself, meet new people, let myself have a real adventure. This is so much more enjoyable than trying to race around the city and cramming in as many attractions into just one stay. The truth is, we shouldn't travel to see more monuments, but to meet new people. To meet new people. Without people, travel is just like a series of postcards, images following one another. How much more do we get out of these places when you have the opportunity to get to know the people who make these places and fill it with their presence? Sometimes it's a story told about the past. Sometimes a brief exchange of opinions of what's going on here and now. Other times, without words, simply observing people's daily rituals. Chinese New Year prayers, tea ceremony in Kyoto. Even the usual kindness and smiles of strangers we pass in the crowd help to fill with contents the places visited and cause that in our memories, these most important images are filled with emotions that we often owe to briefly met people. People are the reason these destinations are full of life and flavor. Travel enables us to meet such a wide range of different people with that are so unique and diverse. And through those people, we learn so much about all the different ways there are to live, because there isn't just one. People who live elsewhere and unlike us are like a mirror in which we can see ourselves. So every journey into the distant part of the world is also a journey into the depths of ourselves. Thank you.